Marathon has landed, and like pretty much every modern live service game, it arrives with a battle pass, some sort of season pass. And almost instantly, the conversation started. Is it worth it? Is there actually anything worth grinding for? Or much like the sentiment around Bungie right now, does it feel just a little bit dry and hollow? Now, battle passes themselves aren't new. Destiny has had them for years, and Fortnite practically built an empire on them. And yet somehow, they are still one of the most controversial systems in gaming, which does indeed raise a bigger question. Are battle passes actually the problem? Or are we just seeing a lot of bad ones? Or maybe it's something that the players might be part of too, that they can change. So let's start with Marathon. Now, before anyone jumps in, the game itself is actually a pretty good time, especially when you're playing with a group of friends or a regular squad. I've enjoyed my time with it so far. But the battle pass, it's easily one of the weakest ones I've seen in a while, and that's coming from someone who plays Destiny. And the issue isn't just really the price, it's the value of the pixels you're buying. When you scroll through the tiers, you start noticing a pattern very quickly. You have a lot of recolored skin, weapon camos, a handful of stickers, charms, that sort of thing, and you have one proper character skin, just one. That's basically it. Now you need to compare that with every other live service battle pass when you're unlocking the full cosmetic sets, unique items, or even enough premium currency to buy the next pass on top of it. Because that's one thing Marathon doesn't do. If you buy a premium pass, you don't earn any currency back to buy the next one, which in modern live service games has pretty much become the standard. Fortnite does it, Call of Duty does it, Rainbow Six does it, Halo does it, The Division, Rocket League, Fall Guys, even EA Sports games have one now. You get the idea, everyone has a battle pass. I could even have a battle pass if you like and subscribe this video. Only joking, but not on the like and subscribing. So when we the players see one that feels lighter on rewards and doesn't give that currency back to keep the loop going, it immediately feels like poorer value. Quite frankly, very poor value. But there's another layer to the battle passes that isn't just about whether the digital dress up is worth the money. It's about whether the battle pass themselves actually changes the game in any meaningful way. Because the moment those rewards stop being that sort of cosmetic level and start affecting actual gameplay, things will just get messy. Take Destiny 2 for example. Every season pass usually launches with a brand new exotic weapon sitting right there on the track, right at the beginning. Immediately you renew the pass and you get to play with that new plaything. And if you don't have the pass, you don't get it immediately or at all. Bungie even hides exotics behind pre-order bonuses for the next expansion that were notoriously broken either by design or a bug. It is hard to determine sometimes with Destiny. Now yes, eventually you can earn it later. Bungie does try and make the things accessible down the line. But during that season, or even the release of that expansion, that weapon is usually tuned to be strong, sometimes extremely strong. And if the seasonal sandbox happens to lean into what that weapon does well for the seasonal artifact that you unlock over time, it means that boss damage rotations, clearing waves of enemies suddenly becomes much more accessible for all players, and granted, they have an easier time to do it. And do not get me wrong, you can absolutely play without that new exotic. But it's often the path of least resistance, which is the most common path players will always take. And that's very different from something that is a skin. Which brings me back to the good example from Warzone when it was in its prime. And if you completed the season pass back then, you eventually unlocked the infamous Rose skin. A fully black operator skin that became notorious because it blended into darker areas of the map almost perfectly. People weren't grinding that battle pass because the skin looked cool. Now for me, the last version of that skin, because there was 3 tiers, did indeed look cool and I constantly used that. But it was overpowered. And many players complain about it. And then you have games like FIFA Ultimate Team. And if you've never played it before, FIFA Ultimate Team is basically a mode where you can build your dream football squad by collecting player cards. You open packs, you earn rewards, and slowly build your team that you get to play with. But once they created a battle pass, a seasonal style reward system, and they introduced it with incredibly strong cards, it started changing the entire mode. Suddenly you weren't building a team over time anymore, grinding out to get the best players. You were just unlocking observably powerful players through that seasonal progression. And for me, that killed the meaning of Ultimate Team far quicker than Uncle Jerry purchasing 50 quid a packs every payday. Because the whole excitement of that game was to gamble. similar to what Destiny players like. The hope that maybe, just maybe, the next pack could contain an incredible player you can sell for 1 million coins on the FIFA trading system, or you get to use them because they are obscenely overpowered. Once the system just handed those cards out through the seasonal progression, the magic just disappeared. Which, for all three examples, contained game-altering items. And if that power is behind a paywall or unattainable in the future, what is the point? Which brings me back to Marathon. Right now, the Battle Pass is harmless, mostly cosmetics, and that's exactly how it should stay. If Bungie decides to put something more powerful behind that pass, something that actually affects gameplay, that's when you're going to start splitting your player base again. Imagine if a new powerful shell, handful of upgrades, or some gameplay advantages suddenly appeared only in the premium track. That's when I will switch off, and I'll go back to my comfortable single-player game life. The last thing that genre needs is Battle Pass advantages creeping into that sandbox. Keep the cosmetics. They are fine. Keep them harmless is the key point. And then you've got another side of the conversation, and this is not about the developers. This is about us, the players. Because, as humans, we like to believe we have something called free will. We choose what we buy. We choose what we support. And so here's a genuine question for everyone listening right now. What would actually happen if players simply stopped buying battle passes, stopped buying seasonal passes? If enough players looked at a pass and said, nope, not worth it, companies would notice very quickly. And we've seen this happen before. Back in 2017 with the Star Wars Battlefront 2, when they tied powerful unlocks and progression systems into loot boxes, think of when they introduced the character of Darth Vader, the backlash was enormous. Players refused to support the game, refunds started happening, and the entire system had to be reworked. Look at Microsoft and the Xbox One release. They announced a console and it would require an always online connection and restrictions on used games. The backlash was immediate. Within weeks, they completely reversed the decision. Even Sony took a cheeky shot at them advertising over it. And to be honest, I think Xbox are still feeling the aftershocks of that incident alone to date, and we're in 2026. And lastly, more recently, you have Helldivers 2. Players suddenly needed a PlayStation account to keep playing on the PC version of the game that they already bought. That caused review scores to tank, refunds again spiked, and the decision was quickly reversed. Because at the end of the day, these systems only exist for one reason. People keep buying them. But why? You don't actually own any of it. Anything you buy digitally in a game can be changed, removed, or made inaccessible at the click of a button. And if we actually truly want our games to improve, if we want our online games to stop becoming this microtransaction supermarket, players, us, have to vote with our wallets. You have to be willing to say no. Now the problem is, again, humans aren't very good at that. Because there's another trait we have that matters here. We don't like sacrifice. Most of us work full-time jobs, and we have a limited time to play video games. And I have a second child on the way, so I know my time will be even more limited. And if buying an extra few pixels makes the pixels we already have look cooler, and that makes us feel good while playing, most people are going to keep doing it. And that's why battle passes, skins, and microtransactions aren't actually going to go anywhere anytime soon. Because at the end of the day, players just keep supporting them, even though I wish we didn't. So maybe battle passes themselves aren't the real problem. Maybe the real question is how much we as players are willing to support them, and what kind of systems we are willing to accept in our games. It's easy to pin all the blame on corporations, but the reality is they are simply doing what they know makes them money, because someone somewhere is always spending that money. And yes, some of you might say, well, Jed, you bought Marathon, so what's the difference? You know Bungie's reputation. And on some level, you'll be right. But for me personally, I do draw the line at microtransactions inside games themselves. I'll buy the game, enjoy the experience, and I'm not constantly spending extra on cosmetics or digital items, unless it's something like a gift card from a birthday or Christmas I've been given. And for Marathon's Battle Pass right now, it is pretty harmless. And if you choose to buy it, and you don't feel like it's worth the money afterwards, that's on you. So the simplest solution is this: stop buying it. Because when players stop supporting something, things start changing very quickly. So let me leave you with this. Do you believe that battle passes, seasonal passes, or whatever they're called in that game at that time are ruining modern online games? Or do you believe there are a natural cost to keep that live service game running? Let me know your thoughts below. And if you've enjoyed the conversation, please like, consider subscribing, and lastly, enjoy your morning, your afternoon, and your evening, and I'll see you in the next one.